And I can't remember why I started making these things, but I started making these, what I call ceramic rocks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a round ball. And then I'm going to, you'll see, I have some here, and then I'll paddle it. And so for the first year, all I did was made these round balls. And I made them anywhere from a golf ball size to a beach ball size. So I'd have, I'd put 20 balls in my garden, all different sizes, and they're really cool having all these different sizes, especially with the wood surface on them. And then one time, when I was, when I make these rocks, when I make them in these spheres in the rocks, and make them asymmetrical, sometimes I'll paddle it for 10 seconds and I said, God, that's gorgeous. And sometimes I'll be paddling for 20 minutes and it's still not, I don't see anything aesthetic, so I just give up on it and I put it aside. So one of these rocks was sitting here and it didn't work. And then I was throwing tumblers, and one of the tumblers didn't work. And I just threw it on top of the rock. And that's where, you see that vase there? That's where I got the idea. So that's process. It just presented itself. And then I made a lot of those vases, and then those rocks, it turned into a teapot. And then it turned into faces. I started sculpting these rocks as faces. And then I made little rocks, and that turned into sake bottles. So it was over and all these ideas just don't happen at once. It happens through the process, through time. Until just the other day, and I'm going to make one now, I'm making pictures, which I'm really excited about, these pictures. So this rock form over an 8-year period so when you look at my work now, it's unified through these rocks, and they really look, it's not like, oh, that's a rock with a spout on it. It's just, they're really, they're all tied together because the base is the rock, but their forms, it's not forced. It's not like I'm forcing the issue, making something out of a rock, because I'm just letting them happen. I'm not trying to force anything, and it's really so looking at the process of these things over an 8-year period. It's been, I can't believe what a wondrous thing it is. Again, it's the process has given me these things. How are we doing on time?
Half hour.
Uh-oh.
Turn the clocks back? Okay, I have 35 minutes.
You can get full time.
Yeah, that's right. We started at like 10.
That's right.
We started at what, 10 after?
Break for lunch.
At least 10.
A little late.
So when I neck, I use a C with my left hand, and with my right hand, I'm using my thumb and middle finger, and I seem to get a lot of control with that. Whoa. So if you do these, you want to go like this a few times. It just blends, meshes them together. They won't crack apart.
Have you ever blown into it?
Yeah,
Just pump it
sure.
up so fast.
I do more of those when I'm doing bottles.
Yeah.
With a tall neck, I'll do that. So I saw this in an antique store. It could have been 18 years ago, long time ago. And I bought it. And it's been sitting in my studio for 10 years and I've never used it. But I never, if I get it, if I have an inkling, I don't ignore it. They usually pay off somewhere down the line. So I've been making rocks for a long time and I see this paddle, I said, oh, let me try paddling it. And now I'm getting 9 out of 10 with the paddle. And then I was in Nicaragua, and I was in this person's house, and they're chopping garlic in this. I mean, every family makes their own garlic things. So I went to the flea market and bought 8 of these for like 15 cents. For like 15 cents.
Didn't go ahead.
And then each one's different. But when I started making, so this one works for small rocks, but for when I beach balls, when I would hit it, it would leave a line in it. So I needed a bigger paddle. I'm looking, I can't find anything. So I take this to a woodworker up the road. I said, make me a big paddle. And I didn't ask how much. Because I needed it. I didn't want to know the price, but how much could it be? So I go to pick it up. It's $450.
What was it out of ebony?
He goes, Josh, I'm really sorry, but he had to glue it, and it's huge. And he had to glue 4 parts. He says, if I made you another one, it would cost you $200. But it just took me, it was all hand carved. It was a block of wood, and he hand carved it and sanded it.
So it's hanging on your wall.
Well, the thing is, I sell these things for $1,500. So I've sold a couple. And so it lets me make this work that I can't make it otherwise. And so it's,
You notice it's not here.
And
Yeah.
right, I know.
Do you have pictures of it?
That's true.
Do you have pictures of it?
Is in the water?
You left it up there. And also, it's that thing about, there's a lot of tools I buy from, most of my tools are from, the clay suppliers. But I love it when I can make tools on my own because it gives me, this lets me do things no other potter can do. That paddle, no one can make those forms with me because no one has that paddle. No one can do it. And even when you foot, this leaves a mark. It can leave a mark, and everybody has the same mark. So whenever you can get a tool, a brush that you make, it's always good to try to find tools. The paddles that I scrounge, it's always kind of good if you make your own tools. It just makes your pots a little bit more unique.
You don't trim your rocks.
I do.
Do you put it in a chuck and?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll do
okay,
that.
okay.
Can you mention what 5 pounds of clay? I wouldn't ask before I'm running out of time. So when I started making these rocks, I first put them, they had a really small flat bottom. And right away I said, they don't want a bottom, they want to be round. So, but that opened up a can of worms, and especially with the vases, when they turned into vases, that I had to have stands for them. And again, that was the most frustrating thing I ever went through with clay, is coming up with a stand, a base for these vases. And it took me 5 years until I was finally satisfied. Either I liked the look of them, I said, oh, they really looks great, but then they weren't stable, or they were stable, but they really didn't fit aesthetically. And the base I finally came, when I demonstrate how I make the base, you won't believe it. I mean, it takes me like 3 seconds. It's ridiculously easy. It's crazy easy, but it took me 5 years. Okay, so. So there's a totally different look between this one and the powdered one. They're just really different. Has everyone used the chuck before?
We got a whole
And you have
table over.
so you use bisque ones, is that right?
Yeah, bisque, yep.
I might hate bisque chucks as much as I hate aloe filler. I hate them that much.
So what kind of years?
What?
What kind of
Drunk.
years?
You just throw it.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
yeah.
A number of people use that here.
I mean,
Priscilla does.
beside the fact that when I've used a bisque chalk, it's hard to get them perfectly centered. You can't, I mean, I don't think I ever did. Can you get them perfectly centered? I don't think so. And so, and then it's frustrating when you're trying to center something that's not perfectly centered. And as long as you can, I mean, so I can make this chuck in 1 minute, and then your pot's going to be perfectly centered every time. And because it's soft, you can move it around. You'll see what I mean. So you just use enough clay and just make it really thick. And then this will last. I mean, I'll keep a chuck for, it'll last 2 or 3 weeks. You just keep it covered in plastic, like a pot. Again, the bottom line is that the bisque chuck is not going to give you as good a pot because it's off center, and it kind of and then it can mar your pot because it's bisque and it can cut into it for this one. So I just do this to so I can mess it up. So here's the one that did like a rib.
You find those chucks, as they set up to get more to the same as the piece itself, is that better or worse? Do you like them freshly thrown?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to you?
If they get too dry, they'll tend to pop off, and then I'll just wet it down a little bit. So first I'm seeing if this is level, it's a little bit off, so I just look it that way. What kind of, does everyone use this tool? Dolan, right? No, Kemper, right? Kemper,
No.
good.
The beginner kits are
The big
Toasters.
Yes.
I think they're at Toasters.
Yeah.
Beginner.
Yeah, once Dolan, I mean, there's no comparison. It's just that it's a high grade steel and it really cuts well. I mean, the other tools like they won't cut. You're altering the form because you're pushing down. It's not really cutting. This just and you can resharpen them.
And they keep their edge.
Yeah, they do.
Who cares to weigh?
Dolan guy? Yeah, is that why you couldn't get them for a while? But then the family figured it out.
They did. They did.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I know someone that died. That was the trouble. So this is just going to get rid of the lines there. This one I would just paddle a little bit. That little point there, I just paddle that down.